Hello, I'm Maurice Dimba and welcome to this tutorial on how to use PEB Tools in Tekla Structures. And today we are going to place rail girders and rail lines for the overhead crane on this structure you're seeing on the screen here. And if you're bumping on this video for the first time, there are other two videos. You can just pick from the two and start following from that spot and come to this. And today we are going to place the rail girders and the rail lines for this structure. And let me just come to the navigator, and I want to rotate this, and you can take a look inside. So we want to place the girders on top of these supports, rail supports here, and we can't work comfortably with all these obstructions in place. And to clear all this and make our visibility much clearer, what we will do, we'll come to view here, and once you click on view, you'll get access to faces here, where you'll be able to click on this, then get to face manager. Inside face manager, we have filters on particular components or parts that you've picked and categorized in faces. So we managed to group some in gables, some in mezzanines, some in purlins, some in masonry wall. Masonry wall is just about to come, and some in rail. Now we want to disable or hide the gables. I'll come to gables here and pick on the button, click on the button labeled objects by faces. I'll click on that and give it some time to highlight all the filters. I'll give it some time to highlight all the parts that fall under that filter or under that face category, and you can see the gables have been highlighted. And what we are going to do is just to right click on the screen here and come to hide, and everything will be hidden, and give it some. Yes, it has been hidden. Now we have some obstructions still in place, which are purlins, and we have to do just the same thing, and we'll have to go to the same process. And this should be a very tedious job or a very hard task to perform. Just click or just come back to a face manager dialog box and pick on the purlins, highlight on the purlins, and pick on this button here, objects by faces, and click on that, and have everything that you intend to be highlighted in that category will be highlighted, and you'll be given that opportunity to right click and click hide, and everything will disappear or will be in the background. So when you refresh or click redraw, everything will come back to their position. And now I'll just click OK, right click, and come to hide, and purlins will be hidden, and I'll get a clear vision, or I'll have clear view of where to place the girders on these supports. Now where do we start? We want to start from this end here, and I'll come to navigate and turn that. Remember to rotate your model. There are two options. You can come to navigate and click on this drop down arrow and pick the first option. You can see a symbol of mouse there, and another option, you come to your keyboard, press Ctrl Shift and hold your middle button on the mouse. The two options are available for you. Whichever works best for you, that is the tool that is ideal for you, that will make your work a bit faster. And for me, I use both. Now I'll come to rotate with mouse. I'll pick position of my rotation. You can see down here, position. I want to rotate it about that spot, and I'll press my left button on the mouse. And remember, the case of Ctrl Shift, you work with your milled button on the mouse by holding. So with this one, with this rotated mouse, you hold your left button on the mouse. Now I'll hold my left button on the mouse. I'll go back and pick on that, and click on my rotation position, and hold my left button on the mouse, and hold, and I'll turn that around comfortably like that. It's a very simple thing to do and very enjoyable thing to do in using Tekla Structures. Now I'll right click and come to interrupt. Then I'll go to edit, and after clicking edit, I'll be able to access the command called points. Under points, we have variety of marking points. So I'll pick the first option of online. This first option will be able to locate a midpoint between 2 points you've just collected, you've just picked. Now I'll pick on it, and I want a midpoint between this point and this point. This is the midpoint. You can see marked red. Now I'll come this end. Alright, I'll just go the same way. So I mean, this point is not very important. We should have transferred this. We should transfer this to the end, or we can just do a similar thing, though we'll not use it. We'll come here and locate another one. I'll show you the reason why we'll not use it. I'll snap on that spot and snap on that spot to locate a midpoint. Now, we want to place the girder, and to get the girder already customized, we have a macro suitable for that. We'll come to applications and component here and click on that and type build up beams, I-beams. I'll double click on this just to access its window. We have it here. This is the beam we have. We have this with some options. And remember that the default one is this, and the one we want to use is this one. But another option will be this. We'll pick this option here because we don't need the bottom channel. The bottom this flange will be welded or bolted or clamped on the crane girder support. Now what do we do? This is active. Now we just drag it aside. It's active. You can see our cursor it has been converted to a plus sign. Now I'll snap at the midpoint here, the point we've just created, and stretch or walk away from it and snap right at the edge of this. Perfect. Now here we are, and before making an inch further, make sure everything is in the right position, because if you make a mistake, you'll find everything following a different direction that you didn't intend to go. Now let me come on this side also and check whether my beam or my girder is sitting in the right position. Well and good, it is there. I'll come here once again and do the same thing. Mark a midpoint here. I'll come to edit and do just the same thing. I'll get a point between that point and this point. I have a midpoint here. By using the first option of point command here, I'll pick the first option. Now I want to place my girder, and to place my girder, I don't want to go there and start setting or feeding the dimensions or customizing further. What to do, just double click on the existing and click modify, apply and accept by clicking on OK here, and that will reactivate your previous settings to be a default to a member you were just about to create. Now I'll come back here and click on that and snap at the midpoint here. I'll snap on that spot, then stretch to the next point here, and make sure you snap on the exact spot right there. Just give it some time to load. There we are. And everything is okay. So what do? We press Ctrl and pick on that. So once that has been done, we'll come to View and pick on Navigate. Remember, that's my option of rotating my model. Here have the options that I have explained to you. So whichever way you find yourself comfortable, just follow that process. Right click. Just make sure you pick the component you intend to copy. Don't pick anything else. I'll pick on that. I'll right click and come to copy. And I want to copy this from that bottom end here. I want to snap from that spot, and I want to transfer this to the other end. Remember, I can't see this location, and to make it simple, just come to Navigate and rotate that. Right click and exit, and snap right there. Perfect. Prior to populating everything, make sure your girder is sitting right in the right positions. Perfect. We are on the right path. Now what do, we want to populate this along what axis? Along the x-axis. You can see the x-axis is pointing us, but in the positive direction. So our center to center dimension, which is 6 meters, will not be prefixed with the positive sign. I'll press Control, then pick on this girder also, and right click and come to special copy here and click linear. How many do you want in the x-axis direction? We need 6. We need 12 at an interval of 6 meters. Now I'll go ahead and click copy and click OK. Then come here and check whether everything is in the right position we intended them to follow, or the path. Now everything is right, and I'll come to still. I will not go there. I'll be still using the built-up beams, because this is a customized type of beam that is particularly suitable for to be used as a girder in creating the rail girders for the overhead crane. Now I'll pick on it and I'll snap right at that spot. Then move away from it and snap at this edge right here and snap right there. There we are. And the next thing we're going to do, just click on it, right click and come to copy, then zoom close, then snap here. Then we want to copy this member to the other side of this support or girder support. I'll come to navigate and I want to rotate this by holding my middle button on the mouse. Remember, I'm using rotated mouse. I'll be holding my middle button on the mouse. When you press Ctrl Shift, you will be using your middle button. You hold your middle button on the mouse and you'll be able to rotate your model comfortably without any hiccup. Now I'll snap right here. Perfect. You're on the right track. Remember to save your work in each step you make, because you never know, something might happen. Your UPS might fail, your power might go off, and you lose that job you've been doing, that project you've been doing for that duration, and that will be a wastage of time, which is not good for you. Now I'll turn this round and check whether everything is in place, and prior to bringing back other parts, I want to start clamping my girder, and I want to start it from this spot. And to do that, I'll first of all mark the position that I want to place my clamps. I want to clamp my girder from. Now I'll come to points here. I'll come to points and pick on these positions here, and pick on at any position, and I'll snap right here. I'll snap right here, and once I've done that, I'll click on that, right click and come to special copy. Now I want to populate this point on that direction and on this direction. First of all, before doing that, check the positions and the direction of your x-axis. The x-axis is pointing on this direction, so we want to offset this point by 100, or by 100 is okay. 100 is much. We'll give it 75 and reduce this number to 1 and click copy. There we are. And next we want to copy this the other side also. Now we have to prefix this with the negative sign and click copy. It will go the other end, and click OK. Now we need other points. We'll click on this point and click and press Ctrl and pick on that point. Then give it an offset inward. Remember, on this position we don't need to clamp. This is the wrong position to clamp. Remember, this will be bolted onto the support. So we've just jumped a step ahead before. Now we should be now laying our rails here. Now I'll come to steel and come to beams here, and I'll snap right here and stretch all the way to this position here, and that is the position. And don't worry about this beam, this is just the default profile and a beam. Now we want to change this profile. We'll come to select under that dialog box, then we'll minimize this, minimize that, and scroll down. We'll come to rails. We'll pick on crane rails here, and I'll pick 120 or 100. 120 is okay. I'll pick 120. I'll click apply and accept that, and click modify and accept that. And prior to accepting, you can see the position where it sits. It's not, it is awkward, and we have to reposition that. We'll come to position here and play around with this rotation and click below. Just play around with it and you find your position. Front, we've gone where we were, and click back, and below it shouldn't be that way, and we come at depth and bring it behind on top, bring it on top here, front, and you can see that it's leaning, or it's leaning on this side, and we have to bring it at the middle position of that, and that is the position that we intended that rail to position itself on. Click apply and accept that, and we'll do the same thing here. We'll come to beam and snap at the bottom end here, and please remember to, when snapping on a particular location, make sure you zoom close so that you make sure your snapping point is accurately targeted, and then we'll snap right here. Now we'll pick on this member, press Ctrl and pick on that, then right click and come to copy, and remember we want to copy the other end, so we can copy it from this position and take it all the way to this end. Remember, I'm not able to see this part, so what do we do? I have to turn this around for me to be able to have a clear view of this, and I want to snap it right on top, that right there, and that is the main target location I picked. Prior to making any step, make sure your rail is sitting in the right position. Now this is where we'll place our clamps. We'll be clamping this rail against this channel. Now we want now to populate this rail to the other direction. Now we'll click on it, on the first rail, and turn this round so that we can access this one also by pressing Ctrl. We can check that, we can see that, and I'll right click and come to special copy here and click linear. Then on the X axis we'll change this to 6 and feed to there to make it 12, and then click OK. Click copy. We can follow that and see whether it's sitting right in the right position. There we are, and that is the location we intended that particular rail to end its journey. I'll come to steel and come to beam and pick on beam, and I'll snap on that midpoint and stretch all the way to this position right there. You can see they're meshing perfectly well. I'll select it and come to copy, and I'll pick it from this position. I'll pick it from this position here and come all the way and place it here. Make sure everything you're doing must be accurately done. Right click and we'll snap right on this position. Perfect. Now what do? We'll start clamping our we'll start clamping our rail against the girder. So what we are going to do, we'll come to edit here and come to points and come to any position, and we want to locate a point right at the bottom end here, or just place a point here, use OK, and pick on that point, select on that point, right click and come to special copy and come to x-axis. We'll feed here, give it 80, that's okay, 80 is okay, and click on that. Then 80 is slightly big, we'll undo that and feed 70 right there, 70 right here, and click OK. Then prefix that dimension, the negative sign. There's so many, we've done the wrong thing, we just need 1 here, not 12, and click that and remove that negative sign and click copy, and that this and this has been copied. Now we want these points to go all the way to the other end. What do? We'll select these two by pressing Ctrl and come to copy special and click linear. Now on the y-axis, now you can see the x-axis is pointing this direction and our movement is going in that direction, so we'll work with the y-axis. Now x-axis has to be 0. On our y-axis, we'll feed it to the particular dimension that will be okay for us to, will be okay for it to reach somewhere here on the rail, on the rail. Now which measurement, we can give it 100 and try if that will work much better. Another 100, that will not work properly, and you can give it 150 and click OK. That will be okay, and click copy. Now we are going to create a plate. We'll come to steel, come to plate, and we want to snap on that spot and snap on that spot and snap on that spot, come all the way to that spot and close the polygon by coming back to our initial point. When we close that polygon, we'll have a plate. So we have to increase the thickness of these plates. We have to close that, we double click on this, then we will use, we can make it 30 and click modify. Perfect. Then now we'll come to apply and accept. Apply and accept, and prior to doing anything, we want to mirror this the other end, because if we do everything here and mirror, it might clash the other end. It might clash at the other end. Now we want to mirror this, and we'll just come here and right click and come to mirror and pick mirror. Then we'll want to pick this edge as our mirror line and snap right there and click copy, and see whether that will copy to the end. If it doesn't copy, we have to change the y-axis, the XYZ plane. You can see it is on this end, and that is the intended position we wanted this to come to. Click on empty screen to deselect the component that has been selected. Now we want to bolt these plates to the girder and bolt this to the girder, and also do the same thing the other end. And to enable the bolting, come to steel and come to bolts, and the moment you see your cursor change to plus sign means it is active, and we want to pick on the first part to bolt. We want to bolt this to this, or you can just press your middle button on the mouse and just click on that and stretch all the way to that spot. Make sure you snap at the edge right there, and you can see your bolt. By default, just double click on it, and we need a washer there, and change the size. We can use M16, or we can just leave it at M20, which is okay. Just click apply, and we have washer. We didn't have washer before, because we have washer because I've just checked these washers. Now we need 2 bolts, this side and this side 2, and that side 2. And to do that, we'll just come to group, bolt group, and I need just 100 or 75 here, 75, and click apply, and still off the mark. And to bring it inside, just I'll come to this spot and feed 40 and see whether it will move inside. It has gone inside perfectly, and that is the position we wanted the two bolts to sit on. I'll click apply and click accept that, and the bolts have been selected. And I'll right click and come to spatial copy and select on mirror, and I want to mirror those bolts the other end. And I'll just come to the same position here and snap on that spot and use this as my mirror line, and click copy and give it an OK by clicking an OK button. Now I'll zoom out to check whether the bolts have been mirrored at the other end. I'll come to navigate and rotate with this mouse and see perfectly well the bolts have been transferred or have been copied this end, and this is what I intended to do. Now I'll click on empty screen to deselect everything, and prior to copying these to other positions, I want to select these two and transfer them to similar position. I'll right click and come to copy, and I'll copy this from that position and move all the way to this end and copy. Remember the position we've just picked it from, I've picked it from that end, and the same position we are targeting at this end. The same position we are targeting at this end, and I'm not able to see any part here. To see that, rotate this, right click and click interrupt, and this is the position I intended to copy it to. Now remember, this is a full solid and a little bit of clash, so we want to cut off this profile using this part and that part. How do we do that? We'll come to edit here, and we want to cut it by part. Select part, and we want to cut the part that is inside this rail. This is the part that will be clamping the rail into position. So remember, it's still a solid all the way inside, so we want to cut it off. How do we cut it off? We select the part we want to cut off, then we select the part that you want to use, this part to cut it off. We want to use, then select the part you want to use to cut the initial part you selected. I'll click that. This has been chopped off. I want to go to the other end and select this and chop the other end off. Let me select this and select that. That's not working properly, and I think everything has been trimmed off. Let me just navigate and turn that around. It has been trimmed perfectly well, and I'll do the same thing here. I'll come to edit. I'll come to edit, pick part, then press this. That has been trimmed off. Move all the way to this end, and I want to trim it. I want to trim this part. I'm not able to reach it. Where are these ones here? I want to click part. I want to trim this by that part, by that part. Now I'll redraw. Oh, I've done a wrong thing. And remember, once you now everything is back, which is not a bad thing, and we'll go on and select that, this and that, select that and that. We'll come this end and select this, zoom, press Ctrl and select that and that, select that and that, and I'll come to view and rotate this and see, check that how many do you want. We need 12 at an interval of 12 meters, of 6 meters. I'll come to spatial copy, linear, and I'll come to x-axis and feed 6 meters, but this time around will be on the negative direction, and I'll feed here 12 and click copy and rush to the bottom to the end here and check whether we have a clamp. We don't have a clamp here. We have a clamp, but they're less. So we'll undo, then right click once again and come to special copy and feed 13 and click copy and click OK. Right click and rush to the end and check we have a clamp here, and I'll navigate this and check whether everything is sitting perfectly well in the position that we wanted them to be. This is good, and our rail has been clamped perfectly on the girder. Perfect. Perfect. And this is what we want. Now I'll click on this, select on that, press Ctrl and select on the bolt and come to navigate, and I want to rotate this. Right click and click interrupt, and I'll pick on this, pressing Ctrl, and I'll go the other end and copy, or I can just copy only this, right, by coming to copy and pick it from that spot and move all the way to this end and snap it right here, and we've clamped that end. Remember, that end will have a stopper, and that clamp, I don't think whether it is necessary in that position, and I'll come to navigate here and rotate this. You can see these clamps are right in their position. This has been clamped perfectly well. And remember to save your work. Come here and save your work. And we are close to the end of this tutorial, and I would like us to meet on the next presentation. And please, if you're new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe. And I think you're learning something. I'll right click and come to navigate, and I'll come here and save my work, and we'll proceed from this point. Thank you. I'm Maurice Dimba, and bye bye.